If every story is our story, let's see what aspects of ourself the characters of this story might represent. It's a story about an old widow who had a son and a daughter. The son was growing up to be a strapping young man, and the daughter, who was beautiful in every way, grew more stunning as the days passed. Lustrous eyes and golden hair cascading over her shoulders. But one day, her brother looked at her and seemed to see her for the first time, to notice her beauty, and he immediately fell in love. So he went to his mother and he demanded that he be wedded to his sister. Now to the old woman, this was disaster, a moment of disaster. What could she do? So she sent the young man to town to buy all the accoutrements to prepare for the wedding. And then she went to her daughter and she said, "You must leave me. From now on, you will appear to me as dead." But before this, she went to a potter and she had made a mask which she brought back to her daughter and insisted that her daughter place it over her head and face. And she said to her, "From now on, do not remove this mask unless you feel safe." And with that, she gave the maiden some bread and a flask of water and sent her off. Now the widow was so bereft that she herself took poison and died. So when the young man returned from buying those things that would be preparation for his wedding, he found his sister missing and his mother dead. He was so distraught, he himself went mad and from then on wandered the streets as a madman. But the maiden took off she knew not to where, and in her wanderings she was met by an old woman who befriended her and, recognizing her state, took her back to her small house and cared for her. This young maiden took on the name of Han Chi, which has the meaning of masked one. From that time on, this is the name by which she was known, Han Chi. But after some while, one day the old woman came home and said, "In town there is a rich merchant who is in need of a maid," and suggested that Han Chi take up the position as maid in their household. Now Han Chi had learned from the old woman how to cook. Not only could she cook some of the delicious dishes that were known in that place, but she was a wonderful cook of the sweetmeats that were famous in those times and in that place. So she took up the position as a maid in the rich merchant's house. It so happened that this rich merchant had a resident spiritual mentor, you might call him, who they called Guru Swami. He was an important part of that household. But one day at a festival time, it was decided to have a picnic. The merchant and his family and friends and of course Guru Swami were having the picnic outdoors, but Hanchi, who had provided of course all the food for their picnic, stayed behind to take care of the household while all the family were out. But this was an opportunity for Hanchi to bathe. So, taking off her mask, she took the opportunity to bathe herself, anoint her parched body with oils. But it so happened that the son of the merchant, who had been away on some errand, returned at that time. And when he came into the house and called for the family, he found that they were all away. So he called for the maid, Hanchi. But seeking for her, he came across her in all her naked glory, and of course was totally and absolutely smitten. So Hanchi, now back in her mask and not knowing that she'd been observed, when the family came back, the son of the household went to the wife of the merchant and insisted that he be married to Hanchi. Now, the family were totally against this. Why would you want to marry this black-faced being who was just a servant in the household? But the young man called Hanchi to him, and in front of all the family, he ripped away her mask. Everyone could see her beauty, her golden hair cascading over her shoulders, and of course they were smitten by her extraordinary beauty. And of course they had already known her as not only a good cook, the best cook of sweetmeats, but a gentle and beautiful soul. So a wedding was arranged, and the young couple were very happy. But Guru Swami, who was really a sorcerer into the arcane arts, magic and potions, also was smitten by Hanchi's beauty and desired her beyond all else. So he plotted and planned the possibility of seducing her. Now, waiting his opportunity, that opportunity came when the mother-in-law told him that she longed to have a grandchild, a grandson. And of course, Guru Swami said, "Oh, I can help you with that. I will use my lotions and potions and my magic to bring that about. But you will have to leave her with me. So he planned to put potions in food to seduce Han Chi, and he was given the opportunity to be alone with her. But Han Chi was not only beautiful, but she was aware and intelligent, and she was certainly aware of the Swami's desire for her. So she was very careful, and 3 times she was able to avert the possibility that she could be seduced by this man. But of course he became very angry when his ploys were not successful. So he plotted, and he suggested to the merchant that they have another picnic. It was not a festival day, but the previous picnic had been so successful. Invite all the friends and the family. So this is what they did. And again, Han Chi was left in the house to take care of the household. But unbeknownst to everyone, when the party was going on, Guru Swami slipped away, and stealing some of the clothing of the guests who was there, a turban here, a pipe there, he went back to the house, and in the chamber of the young couple he left the evidence. So when the family came back, Guru Swami pointed out to the family that Han Chi was a whore. Look at the evidence. Here, in their room, a man had been, a lover, had been with her while they were having their feast. So of course, Han Chi was maligned. She was beaten. They were about to turn her out of the house when Guru Swami said, "No, let me take care of it. I will punish her in an appropriate way. Put her in a box and let me take it away to the river, and I will drown her as she deserves to be." So this is what the family did. They placed Han Chi in a box, and Guru Swami said, "Let me take the box away. The river is far away, but I will take care of it." So Guru Swami had the servants carry the box to an old woman of his acquaintance, who it so happened was the mentor and carer of Han Chi. He took the box and asked her to take care of it, saying that inside was a rabid dog that had to be drowned, and he would come and take care of it, but be careful not to open the box. And so this indeed is what happened. But when the old woman had the box in her house, and after the conversation with Swamiji, she heard sounds in the box, thinking it was this rabid dog. But then she heard a voice, a familiar voice, the voice of Han Chi calling her. So she immediately opened the box and found her young friend, Han Chi, who had recognized her voice when she had been speaking to the sorcerer. So Han Chi told the old woman her story. So the old woman, of course, knew that justice had to be served. We might say karma had to be completed. So she went into town and herself purchased 2 rabid dogs who were muzzled and ready to be destroyed, and brought them back and placed them in the box. And Hanchi was hidden in a side room when the sorcerer returned, demanding that he be left alone with the box. He was perfumed and powdered and ready for his union, as he thought, with Hanchi. But when he opened the box, the rabid dogs attacked him viciously. He was so badly mauled that there was no chance that he could survive. Sometime later, the old woman invited the merchant and his family to her house, where sweetmeats and a delicious meal, only that which could have been cooked by such a one as Hanchi, was served. And in their conversation, they bewailed and regretted the actions that they had taken, saying how much they missed their dear and beautiful Hanchi. But of course, at that moment, the old woman allowed Hanchi to emerge, and the story was told. The whole family, husband, merchant, wife, and the remainder, were greatly remorseful for all that had occurred to the beautiful Hanchi. But of course reconciliation was made, and they returned to become a happy and united family. What aspects of these characters befit those aspects of our self? What did Hanchi represent for us? The old woman, the husband, the merchant, Guruswami, the dogs. Can we find them in ourselves? What does this story mean for us? Have we become a united family? All aspects, like a kaleidoscope, fitting within some circle of awareness of self? Is it like the hologram, where every character is seen as a character and yet as a whole? What does this story mean for us?